So the Panasonic GH5 came out in March of 2017, so we're 5 years old and it's quickly approaching its 6th birthday. Is this something that is still worth it coming into late 2022, going into 2023? Well, let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Leaf right here. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, the kind of things you guys will see here is tips, tricks, reviews, and tutorials for the budget filmmaker / content creator. So if that is something you're interested in, consider subscribing right now. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into this, and we're going to talk about the Panasonic GH5 and whether it's something that is still worth getting in late 2022 going into 2023. And I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and get into it, and my quick answer is yes. I'm going to explain why I say yes with, new cameras that are quite frankly probably better. You have a lot of Panasonic's full frame cameras such as the S5 that I'm shooting on right now, the S1, the S1H, the new GH6 just came out. Heck, the GH5 Mark II is out there as well. So is a camera that is 6 years old still worth it compared to all the other options out there? Again, I'm going to explain why I feel like it is. And first off, a little history on the GH5 if you're not aware, which I'm sure a lot of us are. It was the successor to the GH4, which was already revolutionary in its own right, as it was the first mirrorless camera to shoot internal 4K footage. So the GH5, when it came out, was way ahead of its time. It had 4K 60, internal 10-bit, 5-axis in-body stabilization, waveforms, vector scopes for exposure. It had slow motion at 180 frames per second at 1080p. This camera was well ahead of its time. It was a camera that had the features that cameras nowadays, just 1-2 years ago, are just now starting to get. So it was so far ahead of its time, and it's aged so well. So in my opinion, it's still a great camera today because the specs still hold up. Yeah, it has 4K 60, that's only 8-bit, but you can still use that. Yeah, it doesn't have 4K 120. Do you really need 4K 120? I don't. Do you? If you do, okay, so what? We're different. You need it, I don't. I don't think a lot of us need 4K 120. Do you need 5.7K that the GH6 now shoots in? I don't know. Do you? I personally don't. Maybe one day. Right now, I don't. So it still holds up spec-wise to a lot of cameras today. Yeah, it doesn't have the greatest autofocus. The autofocus is lousy in that camera. I agree. Yeah, it doesn't do great in low light. Okay. Yeah, it has a micro four thirds sensor, and depending upon who you listen to, who you talk to, micro four thirds is either dead or it's not. I don't know. I can't answer that. That's a conversation for another day. I personally don't think it's dead. I think there is still a huge market out there for it, but there's a lot of people jumping ship to go to full frame. So I don't know. I guess only time will tell and really see if micro four thirds is truly dead. But again, I think this is a great camera that you could use nowadays and still be very, very happy with, and can still grow and use for a long time moving forward, because the specs, again, were so far ahead of its time. It still holds up today. And one of the main reasons I say this is still worth getting today is because you can get this camera used in really good condition for under $1,000. And to me, that is a steal for a camera that does what this camera does. If you're an aspiring filmmaker or content creator and you need a camera that has, really good specs, but you're not wanting to spend $14, $15, $16, $2,000, $3,000 on a camera, that is a great option for you. This was a camera that for a long time was up around $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, and now you can get it for less than $1,000 for the specs that thing has. It's definitely worth the buy if you are an aspiring content creator, filmmaker, whatever, and you need a camera that's going to produce great content. I can't see how you would go wrong with this thing. Again, the autofocus is lousy. You'll have to rely on the manual focus. If that's a deal breaker for you, then don't get that camera. But man, if it were me and I didn't have the S5 and I was just starting out and I was like, man, where am I going to get? What kind of camera can I get that's going to produce a great image? And I wanted to get something that's better in my smartphone. The GH5 is probably an area I would look at first. Again, because you're looking at a camera you can get for less than $1,000 in the used market. I mean, even the Sony APS-C cameras, such as the 6600, is still up around used around $1,200-$1,300. I mean, you can get the ZV-E10, has great autofocus, but the video specs don't even add up to what the GH5 have. So you have to really decide what is important to you and what is not. And in my opinion, the GH5 nowadays in 2022 will still hold up. I think it will still hold up moving forward, depending upon if people are gonna stick with the 4/3 system or not. Another pro for getting this camera is the lenses. The lenses are small, the lenses are cheap. You can get a lot of great prime, even some great zoom lenses for not a lot of money, like you would spend for like these full frame glass that you have for the S5, the S1H and all that, or other full frame cameras like Canon or Sony or anyone else out there. These micro 4/3 lenses are very cheap. You can get a lot of great lenses. So that is another pro for this camera. So yes, I think this camera definitely still holds up today in 2022 going into 2023. I mean, again, you can talk about, again, the S5, the S1H, the S1, the GH6, the GH5 Mark II, all those are great options, but I feel like it's still a great option today in 2022 going into 2023. Alright guys, so what do you guys think? Do you think the GH5 is still worth picking up today, now in 2022, going into 2023? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright guys, so we're going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys found some use out of it. And if there's anything you want to see, again, leave me a comment, let me know. Hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed, I'd love you to subscribe and join me on this journey. And we'll see you guys the next time I make a video. Have a good one.